Hi, welcome back to A Novel Lunch. I pray that your holidays were blessed and happy and that your new year has begun prosperous. Today we're going to talk about, um, we're going to have an interview for you. In my last video, we talked about the different kinds of writers, a plotter, a pantster, or a hybrid. And I promised you that we'd have an interview for you. So today, please welcome my friend Winona Cross, who uses the storyboarding method and the three act eight sequence method of plotting her novels. Welcome, Nona.
Hello, thank you.
So good that you'll join us today. Uh, Tell us a little bit about the storyboarding, where you discovered it, how you discovered it, and where you discovered the three act eight sequence or whatever it's called.
I discovered it all those years when I was going to the West Texas Writers Academy. And Alexandra Sokoloff was one of the instructors. I took her class several times. And the three act eight sequence for writing is based on screenplays, writing screenplays. And so act one is just setting things up, and it's talking about your main character's inner and outer desire.
Okay.
And in this current book, Katie's journey, Katie's inner desire is to teach, and her outer desire is to get hired to teach
Okay.
in Journey's End. So
Okay.
this
Well,
point,
you sent me some information, so let me share my screen and see if you can go over it with us with the document. How's that? Can you see that?
yes, I can.
All
Yeah.
right, perfect.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know you could do that. Okay. So,
All righty.
so
So you mentioned that Katie's journey, that her desire is to be a teacher, her and to get
yes,
hired, and then that she meets her faces
she,
discouragement, in Act One. So
that's
go
it.
ahead.
That's the inciting incident.
Okay.
She has those two desires, but the incident that sets her in motion and members of the community and her family is the inciting incident. And she faces discouragement from her parents and others in the new community,
Okay.
but she remains steadfast. And that's basically Act One. Now, Act One, usually, if it was a screenplay, it would be like one fourth, small amount of a screenplay at the beginning. But so it's actually setting things up. And you're
Right.
going to find the inciting incident I mentioned in this is that it's discouragement from others. But that's what incites her to be more steadfast. And in the second act, in the first section, first sequence of it, it's her plan. It's all about Katie's plan, but it's also where you're going to meet the antagonist. And there can be more than one antagonist, and she does have more than one. But you also meet people who support her and the people who are against her. And then she has to cross a threshold. And for her, after facing a lot of discouragement and naysayers and then some other positives, she has to cross a threshold. And that's when her father gives in and he allows her to go before the community council to be interviewed. And she's going to be going, it's 1846, and she's going to be up there by herself being judged and interviewed by four men of the community. And then she's going to have threshold guardians. And if you picture a threshold guardian, they're the ones that are kind of standing beside her. They're not physically standing beside her, but they're there for her. And so they're there, and it's her mother, her sisters, Rebecca, Sarah, Emma. They're people from the previous novel. The people that support her, they're just there. And then you have the midpoint. The midpoint is you see sneak peeks and plants and payoffs. Plants are things like uh, in this book, the plant is one of them, is that Katie's always carrying around this canvas bag, always, that has some books in it, flashcards, and teaching supplies. That's her plant. So every time, whenever you see it in the book, and you see it several times, it's reminding you that there's more in that bag than meets the eye, basically. And the things that pop up, like the payoffs, are when she starts meeting people on the street, things like that. And they say, "Oh, you're going to be a teacher," or whatever. That's what that is. But then you introduce the midpoint. You get to the midpoint. The midpoint is when you see more sneak peeks, plants, payoffs, and you get to see the support. You get to see the support. And she becomes more involved in the community. At the end of the midpoint, if this was a screenplay, it would be at the time when you'd have an intermission to go to the bathroom. Then you come back and you're at the second sequence of Act Two. And that is, you get more attacks. You meet the antagonist, the main antagonist. You've always got at least one. And then some others that are maybe not as revealing, but they're there and you know they're there. And she's being attacked on all sides by these antagonists. And so she's having to face them. And this is when, in your book, this is when your main character is going to falter. This is when she's going to just feel like, why am I doing this? I just don't need to do this. Whatever. This is when she's going to falter. And you're going to wonder as a reader, is she going to make it through here?
Right.
That's where you are.
Right. So
And then,
I'm sorry, these attacks, they're not necessarily physical attacks. They're like
no,
verbal or just
yeah,
subtle things like that that makes her
very, yeah,
feel attacked. Okay.
yeah,
Okay, right.
yeah,
So like internal, like external conflict.
yes. And it's like just a small attack is in one scene is a little boy. I think I've made him 7 years old. That's irrelevant. But he says, he's talking to her in the classroom one day, and he says, "Well, you know what my daddy said," and so it's an attack. It's subtle attack, but it's an attack.
Right, right. Gotcha.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And so you get to Act Three, which is the culmination, I guess is the best word for it. That's when you lose allies. You think you've lost everything, and then something very big in Act Three, something very big for the character or to the character has to happen
Mhm.
before you can say the end.
Right. So that's kind of like
And
your black moment before
yeah, that's what you call the black
the big
moment.
black moment before the
Yes,
resolution.
yes, it is. It is. And so she has to continue on this trajectory and going through hurdle after hurdle. And then
Mhm.
finally, it's like you wake up one morning and the sun's shining, and then things fall into place and you say the end.
That's
And that's
wonderful.
basically what it is.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. You also sent us some pictures of your storyboard.
Yes.
And so this is, like you said, a visual reminder of what is shown in this document. So you have up here on the left, you have Katie's journey, and that's the hero's journey, and you have your acts and your sequence of incidents that happen.
Are you
And
showing that on the screen?
yeah, you can't see it.
Mm-mm.
Let's see. Okay, so we're going to share it again and show that.
Okay.
Now, can you see it?
Ah, Yes,
Oh,
yes.
perfect, perfect. So it's showing, like I said, Katie's journey and has your acts and things over here. So tell us about the storyboard. What is it? What do you use on it? Where is it at? How does it keep you focused? Tell us those things like that.
It is on a whiteboard in my office, and the wall it's hanging on is from the chair where I sit in to do the writing. I can just glance over to my left and I can see it. And it's on the larger magnets are they break things down better. And then the smaller ones talk about the different sequences of that we talked about or what's going on.
Okay.
And that's basically all it is. It's magnets, and I can erase them and I can add them, and just I've added since I sent you this picture, I've added Act Three, and I've added just some other little
Right.
side things that I want to make sure that I remember to put in
Right. And
there.
I see you have, like Katie's, a description of her, her family
Mhm.
members, some of the other people. So all of this is just information. It's a visual, um,
It's a visual
kind of like having
representation.
a it's kind of like having a vision board for your life, but it's a vision
Yeah,
board for your book, right? It's a
yeah,
representation that kind of keeps you on track. If you
yeah.
away from your writing for a while or you feel stuck, you can always look at it, move stuff around and say, okay, well,
Right.
let's let this happen now and we'll put that happen later and work it out where it flows better, right?
Yes, absolutely.
That
And
is such a wonderful thing.
I will say this about that. I used to just do it with the different colors of the markers on the board, and then they get smudged, and they do this. So that's why I bought magnets.
Right.
And they're very inexpensive. I mean, really inexpensive. And just you move them, you can move them around like dice or whatever you want to move them to. But
Well, I think this is
I,
a great I think this is a great idea for people that want to implement that to help with their writing. But I also
Mhm.
want to say as a coach, I want to encourage you if you don't have a whiteboard, don't make that your excuse not to work this out. Okay. Get a
Oh,
piece of
yeah,
construction
yes,
paper, do it on your computer and print it out for yourself. Make it little, get a document, lay it out horizontally and make little squares, insert little text squares and write all this on there, or just draw squares, print it out. Just get a piece of
I-
paper and print it out. And not even print
you
it out,
don't
just
even
get a
have to
piece of
print
paper.
it out. I
Right.
used to just use notebook paper and write down Act One and just
Right.
scribble things.
Right. So a
Yeah,
storyboard could be any number of things. It can be a
yeah,
whiteboard, it can be construction paper, it can be just regular
yeah.
paper. It can be, I mean, if you need it to be visual, then put your paper horizontally and
Mhm.
draw those little squares and put that information on it for yourself and keep it close to your computer. Also could be flashcards with all your different
Yeah,
acts and sequence and
yeah, yeah.
stuff on it. But I thank you so much for sharing this with us, Nona. I'm going to stop sharing our screen now.
Okay.
I thank you for sharing. I want to talk to the listeners now. I'm going to let you know that if you would like to work with me one on one with your writing project, my email is in the show notes. Nona has given me permission to put all this information in a single document that you'll be able to download from my computer. Remember, it's all copyright protected, but it'll be there for you to look at and to develop your own around your own story. Also going to have the link to that document will be in the show notes. Also, I will have in the show notes a link for you to reach Nona, and in the document, you'll know how to reach Nona and find her books. Thank you for joining us. Hope this video was beneficial, and I hope that you have a great day. And until next time, write happy.